Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/Capes and Lunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. Music to my ears. Hello and welcome once again, friends and neighbors, to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie the Professor Esser. One who professes, that is I. And with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burg of Pitts. It is...
Phil Podcast Perich.
Phil Podcast Perich, the man who makes all podcasts podcastable. We both have our fancy Capes and Lunatics cups today, because what's life without a little merch? And the best part is, you have no idea what I'm drinking. Ooh, could be anything. Could be pure natural orange juice.
I thought you were saying you had no idea what you were drinking at first. Like,
I never have any. Actually, honestly, I'm just... It was open. I threw it in there. It's in the cup now. That's the great thing, is you just keep on adding stuff. You don't know. Oh, anyway. So, okay. Here's the big story that's already like, because they can't let us have anything nice. We had our big Super Bowl ad, and there's an earlobe in it, which everybody insists has to be Patrick Stewart's earlobe.
Yeah.
Of course, we get an ADR voice saying, maybe we should tell him the truth. Although, in it, again, like, who is this even in this scene? Is this... Nobody knows, but everyone's certain about it. And of course, Patrick Stewart, for what it's worth, has been having fun with it. Because the first thing he said about it was, yes, everyone called and says, is that you? I said, how could it be me? I'm sitting at home watching the football game. But, and then he's also, like, talked a bit about, like, and people have asked, so how would Professor X interact with Doctor Strange? And he gave his statement about how Professor X would interact with Doctor Strange. That does not mean he's playing Professor X here.
I've heard so many rumors. I mean, that the new rumor I just heard today was what's his face, the guy who plays Reed Richards in Fantastic Four and Rise of the Silver Surfer. He's going to be in this too as part of the Illuminati. So
yeah, I mean, anything's possible. I mean, if nothing else, No Way Home basically said, yeah, believe everything, because anything can happen. I mean, really, it's they've cast someone in the new Kraven the Hunter film. I did not even know there was a Kraven the Hunter film, and the person they cast isn't Kraven the Hunter. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. Sony's just off in their own little world. They have their Morbius coming, and that's their thing. And that's sort of where it all gets kind of mushy into it.
Yeah.
Because here's my thing with this. Okay. First off, everyone says, "Oh, it has to be the Illuminati," and right there, no, it doesn't have to be the Illuminati. It could be any number of conspiratorial groups that are not the Illuminati. And, the Illuminati didn't even work on multidimensional threats, generally speaking, let alone timeline incursion threats. And my actual theory is that this might be the Brotherhood of the Shield. And the Brotherhood of the Shield is something that they have been teasing since Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And, what does that acronym tell you? It says someone really wanted our name to spell S.H.I.E.L.D. This has been this thing that exists, part of the old Hickman line. If you all remember Old Man Hickman, he had this whole grand cosmology that he, canonized for a while there. And then, did his Avengers planet and the whole, that whole thing where he just expended everything out from that Fantastic Four route. And, and now that's done and we're going to do something else. But, But here's why. Because for all the talk about, here's why I think it might be the Brotherhood of the Shield, and why I don't think Patrick Stewart is playing Professor X. Although people have said no, he's playing Professor X from the 1992 X-Men.
Oh, God.
Because there's all these theories about how no, you see, because the end of the last 1992 X-Men had this whole multiversal threat, and it created a universe without mutant. I didn't see it. It was a long time ago. By 1992, I was graduating from high school and was living my life, and I never read X-Men comics to start with.
Oh my God, Charlie! If they do the Illuminati and they bring in past actors, we've only had one Black Bolt actor.
Well, that is again why I don't think it's going to be the Illuminati.
Okay,
see, that's the thing. It's like I don't think it's the Illuminati because the Illuminati. First off, the Illuminati is of a place and a time and a structure that is so built upon the actual Marvel structure that I don't think it works to introduce here as a multiversal threat. Whereas I think you could take characters like Dominic Cooper, Howard Stark, Haley Atwell, Captain Rogers, maybe a Franklin Richards played by Patrick Stewart. Sorry, a Nathaniel. Yeah, Nathaniel Richards played by. Although you could also have a Franklin Richards played by Patrick Stewart. That's actually the son, but he also becomes a godlike being later on. So you could actually have, the original Nathaniel Richards, Reed Richards' father, who worked with Dominic Cooper's Howard Stark, as a member of the Brotherhood of the Shield, working on time-displaced issues, and have that actually be a part of that larger story. And you could approach this in a way that is going to really open up possibilities. That's the thing. Everyone's saying, oh, well, they're going to retcon what has already happened in the MCU, or they're going to change what the MCU is. I don't think they're going to. That's the thing. I don't think they're going to intrinsically change anything. Because I think they haven't done that yet. They haven't done it yet. And every time that they introduce something, it's always that, no, this was always here, it was hidden. That, there were superheroes in the 40s, we just don't know about them. That S.H.I.E.L.D. actually kept the wraps on things for years. And that's actually one of the many things the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV series told us, was that S.H.I.E.L.D. kept the wraps on things for many years. As we saw when we actually found out that there were superhumans that S.H.I.E.L.D. was just summarily imprisoning because they felt that they were too extreme to be out on their own. Angar the Screamer, it worked for this episode. Lady with sharp fingernails. It worked in the short term, but the fact of the matter is that this idea is that there are these other threats in the universe, and you don't need an Illuminati. And in fact, an Illuminati is thinking too small. But a Brotherhood of the Shield, something that is going to encompass Galileo and Newton and Tesla and Nathaniel and Howard Stark too, the actual historical geniuses of the past ages that had been disappeared from our popular culture.
Yeah.
And that, if nothing else, it explains why Dominic Cooper turned into that other guy. It's just, but you bring Dominic Cooper back, and it's like, no, yeah, that's me, but that's also not me. But that's sort of, that's where we split when I do that's when I became the time travel variant, and one of us stayed behind, and one of us formed the Brotherhood of the Shield. And that's where you can build out this story. And for what it's worth, what is it? The 10th or the 16th?
What?
All of Marvel's babies are coming home.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it's is it around the 16th because I think it's like the middle of the
Yeah.
month. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's really telling. And I think what's also telling, as Disney is positioning itself in this universe, you have this idea that they needed to adjust Disney Plus's parental controls
Mm,
to integrate the Defenders, because they had to make sure that so that parents could
yeah.
like really not the Defenders for my kids, because that's too much violence. I don't need to see Luke Cage getting coffee. Uh,
Or Wilson Fisk crushing a guy's head in a corridor.
yeah, I'd like to say that's what you want to protect your kids from, because that's what I would protect my kids from. But I know that a lot of people just do not want to see Luke Cage get coffee. But to me, that's my favorite part of the whole episode.
Yeah, I know. It's. Oh, did you see? I guess I thought I saw an article today. They were saying they're going to do like a cheaper version of Disney Plus you can get with ads.
Yeah. Well, of course, that makes sense, because they already have Hulu with ads.
Yeah.
It's like I have Hulu with ads and I have Disney Plus. I'll keep my Disney Plus premium.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna keep my Hulu with ads,
Yeah. I mean, I think that's nice. It's like, oh yeah, we'll give you a cheaper version. Yeah, I just gotta watch a couple ads.
Yeah, well, why not? I mean, for what it's worth, most of the stuff that's on there is television anyway.
Yeah.
And they no longer have to fit it into a block,
Exactly. Oh, did I
They just-
see besides the Netflix stuff? Did they say they're putting Agents of Shield on Disney Plus?
Yeah, all of the babies. Yeah, the Netflix stuff, yes, but also Agents of Shield. It's all coming home.
I mean, that just makes sense. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
They own that.
And
outright.
that's where I think stuff like that is the stuff that is going to come into the larger weaving of the MCU.
Yeah.
And I really think that stuff is going to be much more of value to the MCU than even the mutants. Because here's the thing about the mutants, everyone wants Patrick Stewart back, and who doesn't? I love Patrick Stewart, but I think that for what Marvel is doing,
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Fantastic Four and its family has far more interest to them.
Yeah.
And that's like the thing that always confused me about Fox, is why they never had these two houses merge,
Yeah.
Why X-Men and the Fantastic Four were kept just so separate. And granted, yeah, I guess they still, like, X-Men was a big money book. Fantastic Four was just a legacy book that kept on going because you had to keep Fantastic Four going because it was the founding book, It took years for them to actually, for the first time ever, stop the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Fox.
So why? But it's just weird to me that Fox never capitalized. They never built out on what they had. And what we know about Marvel is they are always building out on what they have.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that at a certain point, reintegrating the mutants as anything other than things that were always there. Like, you're not going to have a cosmic moment that creates the mutants. Because first off, that defeats the purpose of the mutants.
Mm.
The mutants can't just be the Inhumans, sans fish oil. You can't just have and then the mutants showed up, and it was because of the Bang Baby. You can't just make them Static Shock. Like, everything you want to do, you can't just. They have to have always been there.
Yeah,
in
but
order for them to be there.
But Doctor Strange too. Could we get some kind of reality inversion or something where, like, we rewrite history and the Fantastic Four and the mutants have, like, always been there?
I mean, I guess you could do that.
Kind of like a No Way Home, where it's like no one remembers Peter Parker now.
Yeah, but
now everyone remembers the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, there are ways that they could do it. And yeah, that is definitely a thing they could do. They could just say, oh, no, now in our universe, the Fantastic Four was always there. But then, you have to sort of, basically, you can retroactively expand the universe. And of course, comic books do this all the time, where suddenly no, now Captain America had all these extra adventures and all this stuff happened. And now here's the Destroyer, who was also a World War II hero, who was a guy who got a version of Cap's formula, all this kind of stuff that could be a part of it. And you could expand that out, But then again, what you actually get to is this moment where you can say, well, are they expanding it out, or was it always there? It just never came up.
I mean, I'm trying to
Because that's
think.
the thing.
Could the timeline work where it's like at the same time they snapped everyone back? In Endgame, could Loki have broken the multiverse at that exact moment? So like they snapped.
Well,
some extra
again,
people
you
back?
can't think about that. You can't think about Loki within a temporal structure.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So could that snap have snatched some people from the multiverse?
Well, I mean, the snap only happened in one universe. And that's another way you have to think about it. It's like that one universe where the snap happened was one of at least 14 million that Doctor Strange saw. So it's like when you actually talk about like how many different variations of universes there are out there are literally billions upon billions upon billions of universes within the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you look at this one little Podunk 616 universe, it is not even. It's important to the people that live there, but within the cosmic stream, universes come into existence and come out of existence all the time, and it is only ordered for a certain point, and then that's really the point to understand about what happens at the end of Loki is, yes, the universe was stable, but it was also always unstable because the instability goes backwards in time, not forward, because they're at the end of time in Loki. And I think that's the biggest problem that people are always trying to put on this is they're trying to jam it into a temporal structure for a aspect of the story that is inherently atemporal.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, quite frankly, it's a Loki variant that does the entire story of Loki. Like, nothing that happens to Loki has anything to do with what happens in Loki.
Yeah.
Because that's a Loki variant.
Mm-hmm.
And he was plucked out of time, and everything that's happening in the TVA and everything else extra multiversally is all unrelated to the MCU. And yeah, they could blink the universe out of existence, blink it back into existence, and then suddenly things are a little different. Like suddenly, wow, who's this Miles Morales kid who happens to go to my school? You can do that, but do they hang a hat on it in that way, or do they just say things have always been and things will always be?
Because I was going to say, instead of Illuminati or even Brotherhood of the Shield, maybe in Doctor Strange, maybe it'll just be, maybe we'll get our money's worth out of Jonathan Majors and it'll be Council of Cross-Time Kangs.
I mean, that would be really awesome if, again, and honestly, what you could have here along those same lines is this could be, if you want to get into it, you have Jonathan Majors as Kang as one of these people, but also, because you could have Kang as the future version, Nathaniel Richards, Patrick Stewart as the ancient version, Nathaniel Richards, and just all these variants who would all discover time travel at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, once you discover time travel, you discover pan-dimensionality, And they could be going up in front of the Council of Reeds. So even in that idea, Patrick Stewart could be Old Man Richards. And you're going to get a bunch of different Reed Richards, of which Patrick Stewart is one of them. Or,
oh my God. How big of a deep dive would that be? You get the guy who played Reed Richards in that Corman Fantastic Four and make him Nathaniel Richards.
I mean, yeah. Or, but that's the idea. It's like you could get anyone in there.
Yeah.
Because you could get all of the Reed Richardses from all four movies, counting the Corman movies, and throwing a Patrick Stewart as an extra bonus Reed Richards. Or they're all the Nathaniel Richards of this universe. Throwing a Dr. Doom or two, a Victor Von Doom.
I was going to say, you really want to mess with the timeline? you do a Council of Dooms.
Yeah. Well, but this is where I get into this idea. Well, one of the reads was also a Doom, so that's also
Oh yeah.
where it gets complex, But this is where I get the thing about the Brotherhood of the Shield is when we looked at the Brotherhood of the Shield, I mean, it was always these super scientists. It was Galileo, it was Tesla, it was Newton. Newton, who goes on to found Hydra,
Mm.
and you have these immortal geniuses at the end of time, or in the middle of time in this case, You could even have it would be very interesting if you actually get it as these are the geniuses of the Marvel Universe, and you have a Nathaniel Richards, a Hank Pym, and that's who built the Ultrons.
Oh.
So the Ultrons that work, that was Hank Pym's idea, and just that entire concept there. There are all these things. You could even have Professor Norton, and then it's actually a Human Torch that's fighting Scarlet Witch there. You could have so many different characters there. And the thing about the Illuminati is like, oh, but you see Doctor Strange's in the Illuminati, which he's not here, obviously. But Namor, Black Bolt, and Reed Richards run the Illuminati, of which we don't really have anything there. And you can say Professor X was there, but also Professor X was there because he was a representative of the mutant community. And that's really what it was. Like the original Illuminati was Reed and Tony and Professor X and Namor and Black Bolt. And, and then of course, and Doctor Strange as representatives of certain aspects of the superhero community. And of course, Black Panther was the one that stepped out. So there's lots of things you could have here, and we won't know until it comes out. And I think the idea of just assuming it's, I was wrong about a lot of the stuff in No Way Home, but I don't know. I get the feeling that after Boner, I think having any of the X-Men come back as the X-Men themselves is super unlikely.
Yeah.
Just because, even though Feige wanted Patrick Stewart back as Professor X, I think that because they made a whole thing about, Patrick Stewart saying he did not want to come back as Professor X because he thought his character had a closure.
Mm-hmm.
Anything's possible. They back up the money truck. Who knows? But to me, it has to make narrative sense.
Yes.
I don't think it makes narrative sense for Patrick Stewart to be Charles Xavier in this scene. I honestly feel it was an intentional tease, just like having Ralph Boner show up at in the middle of Wanda. It's intentionally made to mess with your head and to make you think the wrong things. So that's my theory. Do you want to talk comic books, Phil?
Yeah.
We got a ton of them here. Speaking of everything, Fantastic Four number 41, Reckoning War. It is interesting, to say the least. Because we have these two parallel stories. First off, Reed tells, we have three, because of course we have Uatu and his family.
Mm-hmm.
Uatu at the family reunion. He's like, dudes, we got to do something. And they're like, no, we don't. Quiet, Hugh. They even lock him up. And then you have Reed and his family going after, I guess these are supposed to be members of the Reckoning, which is that first species with the Watcher technology that are super powerful. And this is what, Ben saw. This was the person who kills him, at least in one universe. Because we've seen other universes where he lives forever. So it's like, again, this is why it's like one universe. There's one universe where, yeah, that happened. That doesn't mean it's this universe.
Mm-hmm.
And arguably it's every universe, But like his wedding ring saves his life because that's like the one thing their swords had a problem with. Vibranium or adamantium or something. Although they do, like, I guess, cut up Ben pretty harshly there. And then we get back to Spire.
Yep.
And I love this. And again, this was clearly Reed's plan all along. And that's why he forbid Johnny to go. Because he's like, I know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to go there. And he's going to basically annihilate a nihilist because we know he can do that right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because no matter how hard he pushes his flame, it never shuts off. And he basically, enlists the unparalleled into a cosmic war. Because it's a whole planet full of Fantastic Fours. And they're going to now join the fight. Which kind of strikes you as, that seems like the exact kind of thing that could turn the tide. Meanwhile, all the heralds, including Thor, as it turns out, are all resurrecting Galactus.
Yeah, they're like under someone's control. They're like resurrecting Galactus.
Well, they're under Galactus's control. And in that whole idea, what's his name? Silver Surfer has the ultimate nullifier. The last things that survived from the last nullified universe. And he is bringing the Destroyer Galactus, because it is Galactus Destroyer, because now the Destroyer armor has bonded with the resurrected Galactus. So they are going to kick some butt and take some names, because at the end of the day, this I think is the point, is that I think that the reason the Watchers don't want to interfere is because they know this universe that they've been observing for so long has the power now to defeat the reckoning.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole point, that, yes, if the reckoning comes and destroys us, first off, if the reckoning comes and destroys everything and destroys us, that is just our just desserts. But I don't think they actually fear that, because I think that death is a different kind of a weird thing for them. And that's why I think that it is... that's why I think they're having Uatu keep his powder dry. Why they're telling him, look, kid, you don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us watchers, we've been watching a bit longer than you have. And we've seen a lot, So there's secrets even you don't know. So I am enjoying Fantastic Four a lot. You know what is a big crossover tie-on that I really had a hard time with this week, Phil?
What?
Suicide Squad.
Oh,
I liked it. Number 13, I liked it, but this is issue 2 of the War for Earth 3.
Oh, is that out already? I got part 1 or War for Earth 3 part number 1.
Okay, when did that come out?
This week, I think. So
okay, so I guess they both came out. So
I didn't know they both came out. Yeah, I thought Suicide Squad.
Yeah, and it's just very distracting, because obviously it's like, I guess I had to read the other one.
Yeah.
To read this one. And apparently, I guess Hootie the Owl broke Owlman, or Talon. He does the Bane thing with the back.
Oh yeah, he did do that in this issue. Yes.
Yeah, and then apparently someone has sand person powers. That was new to me.
Well, the whole thing is Amanda Waller comes to Earth 3 with a bunch of, I guess she's gathered versions of heroes and villains from the multiverse, and she comes to Earth 3, and she comes to Ultraman, and she's just you know what? Do what you keep doing. You know what? You don't have time to be a king. Be a god. She's let me run the day to day. So I don't know what Waller's up to, but she's let me run the day to day, and and chop whatever heads off that he's chopping off. He's yeah, you go be a god. You got more important stuff to do. So
yeah.
And then I guess she's against the Suicide Squad, because then she shows up with at least 2 of the Crime Syndicate and some other people.
Yeah, I mean, I love Ambush Bug in this, which is always great.
Well, that's what I was telling Loaf last night. I'm I think I'm gonna have to recommend this to Charlie, because Ambush Bug's in it.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. It's as they're doing it, they keep on jumping back and forth, which makes it hard to follow, because I guess here we have Rick Flag, and I think that's Deadshot, getting like they're stealing pharmaceuticals to clean themselves up after the fight. Then we jump back and we're in the middle of the fight with Mirror Master trying to get everyone out of there, and it's not going well. And apparently, this all ties into the next issue of Flash.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know there's an issue of Flash that crosses
Yeah.
into there, so I always get that anyway. So
But I mean, in this concept, it was actually pretty cool at times.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Ambush Bug and Peacemaker doing a lot of teleportations. And not for nothing, Ambush Bug's teleportations are now like so much more powerful than they've ever been in the comics. It's like, you know, yeah, we can just cross dimensions and cross universes and go to piano bars and fortresses of solitude. I think it's weird that in this one, Ambush Bug doesn't know if Superman has the Fortress of Solitude, but I would have to think he's been to it in the past. But that was probably 3 crises ago.
well, that's probably I think that's probably meta commentary where Ambush Bug is like, well, who knows what continuity is now?
Yeah, and you know we have I forget who. So this is supposed to be the Wonder Woman in this universe, right?
Yeah, Superwoman. Yeah.
Superwoman is, in fact,
I believe.
Diana Famous Face, and
No, I
know,
think this one's actually like a version of Dawn of Troy, like an evil version of Dawn of Troy.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, they do their things, and then we had Johnny Quick and the Black Canary with her sonic screams just devastating everybody. So that was fun. You know, I'm curious where they're going with it. It is interesting, but like I said, it's very disjointed.
Yeah.
And you don't really know what's going on. But you know, just because you're not disjointed doesn't mean that we still don't know what's going on. Because then you have the Thing.
Oh yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Yeah.
I'm confused.
I'm-
Apparently, Amaryllis is actually Death.
and the kid is like the kid of a Watcher, I guess.
Well, yeah, and I'm trying to think, is that supposed to be like, because Uatu does have a child, but had a child years later. But I don't know how Watcher's stuff works, so maybe they can be at any point in time. And then we see Amaryllis forming these different forms. I don't remember the guy with the Hawaiian shirt at any point, but or was that the person? Oh, that was the person that was working with Alicia. Okay.
Yeah.
And here we see that now Death wants Ben Grimm to be her paramour. Death, quit flitting around.
I know, man. Thanos,
Stick with
Deadpool, now
Deadpool.
Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Anyway,
is really weird, but I guess it ties up. Even the Doom part I thought was weird.
the Doom part was very weird. Like, I mean, the continuity of this story is very weird, but I guess maybe it's intentional.
Maybe,
You know?
yeah.
She-Hulk was good.
Yes.
She-Hulk is always good. And again, this was kind of a no fights episode.
Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, hey, Jack of Hearts is alive, and
yeah, and he's hungry and he's thirsty. Although we do get we get him busting out, and we get like that after credit scene at the end where, oh, whoever busted it, wherever he was, it was someone who was experimenting and actually intended to have all the Jennifer Walters stuff there. And we actually have like the 2 distinct word bubbles, one that's got the weird Jack of Hearts, and the other one that says hush now. So we'll have to see what happens with that. I still want to know, I don't know how Mallory Book got that scar on her face. I think it's a cool scar.
Mm-hmm.
I love that she does nothing to hide it. In fact, accentuates it. That's why she's a VA. This is actually one of my favorite scenes in this. After Jack of Hearts knocks out on the couch, she goes to work, sees the ambulance stuck in traffic, goes, lifts it up, walks it out of the traffic, and puts it down. Leaves her card.
Yeah, I just took the whole food and drink thing, and even like the sleep thing is like, not only is he back, but maybe like his body is different now. Maybe it's like closer to human, or because he had that weird zero energy before. Maybe now he's like closer to actual human again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's something like that.
Yeah. I love how it makes it a little vague too, because she was like, "When's the last time? Was it the last time you ate or drank?" He was like, "Oh, Bush was in office."
Ba-dum-bum-ba-dum-bum.
I mean, either way, it's a long time, but it's like, which one?
Yeah, well, that's the gag. One star's. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, sorry. I was going to ask you. Did you read from our friend Jed McKay? Did you read Strange #1?
No, that came out. I missed it.
Oh,
Tell me about it, Philip.
Well, it seems Clea, and then she gets Wong on board. They're going to resurrect. They're going to. They don't have a way yet, but they're going to find a way to resurrect Stephen Strange. So.
Okay.
And towards the beginning, after she wakes up in the morning, Clea gets a visitor. At the mansion. Yeah, it's Doom at the door. He's like, oh yes, I've come to become. Stephen Strange is dead. I've come to claim my title as Sorcerer Supreme. And Clea's like, oh no. She's like,
first
no.
off, you're a petty dabbler.
Exactly.
No one is going to let you be Sorcerer Supreme, Doom, ever. You're not good at being a scientist. Why would we let you be a sorcerer?
She's like, one, between my station in life, and she's like, and I was married to the former one, and I taken his last name. Oh yeah, the title was mine, because like, she even gets in his face. She's like, oh yeah, you're not going to threaten me in my place of power. No.
Well, yeah, really, and Doom is just. Oh, by the way, I do want to do this one thing. What's his name? Played Ash Williams in Evil Dead. Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell says he did do a cameo for Multiverse of Madness. There was a very cool character, he said, but he doesn't know if it got through. I am so hoping he plays Monaco, Prince of Magic. And honestly, if there's a guy I'd love to see in this, it would be Monaco, Prince of Magic. And if you're getting into that multiverse, you got to get Alfred Molina and Monaco, and you got to bring in a Dr. Doom, and have Alfred Molina call him a dropout, and and Monaco call him a petty dabbler, and my life is complete.
Maybe they just answer the question in those Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. Was he playing 3 separate characters, or was that the same guy with 3 different jobs?
It could anyone could be the possibility. I mean, it would be interesting, Show him going from a wrestling match to being a maitre d' to what was his third job? Oh, not sure. Yeah, so I really hope I really hope we do get our Bruce Campbell cameo, and I hope it's somebody interesting, Maybe it's Willie Lumpkin. That could be cool too. I'm sure he can wiggle his ears. Yeah. All right, but
wait. I have to get back to Strange. I mean,
yes,
it's great because like Clea and Wong are talking, and they're like, well, how she's like, well, how many of Steven's friends, superhero friends have come back from the dead? And Wong's like, yeah, pretty much anyone. So they're like, there's always the possibility he may come back on his own, but we're gonna try to make a plan that we're still gonna try to resurrect him. And she I guess she casts a spell, so it's like, oh, if anyone crosses over from the land of the dead, I'm going to feel it, which she does towards the end of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not Stephen Strange who crosses from the realm of the dead. Oh, kids, been waiting years for this, but Jed McKay finally pulled the trigger, because I guess the new big bad has brought back in zombie form Thunderstrike.
Yay! Thunderstrike. We've been waiting.
So, Jed McKay not pulling any punches, man.
Yeah, well, he was a beloved character who is now a zombie. So,
exactly,
it all works. Yeah, I mean, I will have to read that because I was actually really looking forward to it. But I mean, I had like 10 books this week. I knew I had like 10 I had to put back.
And the Strange #1, it's worth it, but it's like extra size, so it's like a $5 book. But I said, it's worth it. But yeah.
Yeah. So let me give DC a little bit of love. One Star Squadron 4 came out, and it is weird. It is weird to say the least, because it is just, I'm not quite sure what we're supposed to take from it, aside from just this. Who wrote Metamorphosis? I think it was a German author, I want to say, and
What, Kafka or?
Kafka. Yeah, it's a very Kafka-esque. It's like if Kafka wrote a superhero book, I kind of feel like the weird, nihilistic, meaningless qualities of it would be very much of his, and that at the end it ends off on a cliffhanger that someone actually did burn down Heroes for You.
Oh my!
It's interesting to say the least. It is interesting to say the least. Do you have one you want to shout out?
Did you read Captain America Iron Man?
Of course I did. Here it is. Cap does not like wearing the Hydra Cap armor.
Well, no.
As he has mentioned. And, it's weird and it's interesting, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I really like our Supreme Hydra. What's her name? Is it Allison?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, we get her in her full Supreme Hydra outfit, and it's got like Dr. Octopus arms and an arc reactor and a goblin glider. But she was ready for just about anything. And then we found out the Paladins were basically a part of their conspiracy. And now they're going to kill 51 or 52. I don't buy it. I don't think they're going to do it. But I think that is the conundrum that they're facing, is they don't want to get exposed for the frauds they are. What jumped out at you about this episode?
Veronica, that's it, not Veronica.
Oh, Veronica, yeah. Veronica. I like Veronica.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we have not seen the last of her. Our little pink Hydra agent.
I mean, this is the penultimate. Next one's the last one, and then who knows? I mean, she could show up in Iron Man. There's going to be 2 Captain America books coming up soon. So
yeah, well, I hope so. I hope she sticks around. I think she's got legs, and I think kind of like Zodiac over in Moon Knight. She's the kind of character that people might forget about, and then when you bring them back, you're like, oh, that's who that character is, and it's extra exciting. So, there is that.
But yeah, no,
Spider-Man was a bit weird and creepy.
Oh yeah.
I am really worried about Ben.
Yes.
Because the whole thing with Ben is he is not himself. And it is literally that, there's a part of me that wonders if he's going to get overwritten with a Dr. Octopus memory structure. Because that's the thing, that Beyond is using Dr. Octopus's memory framework,
Yeah.
Because that's why it all falls apart. Why? Because it's the key memories, and you build out the web, and it's like all of Dr. Octopus's work, which is why he's mad about it.
Oh, they're going to Connor Kent him. He's going to be like 50% Peter Parker, 50% Otto Octavius.
He's going to be something. He's going to be Tolliver 2.0,
Yeah.
And what would be interesting is, like, if that is the only way to do it, because we know that Otto's trying to reclaim his lost memories, and the only way to get his lost memories would be to get him out of the Parker brainwaves, because he knows that's where they were hidden. And
it's just like Ben's mind is shutting down, so it's like he's either going to go brain dead, but the only mind we have to jack in those holes is Otto Octavius. So
it's like an old Superior Spider-Man clone, like he'll remember all the Spider-Man stuff,
Ooh.
but he'll also remember all the Dr. Otto Octavius stuff.
If he has Otto's superior Spider-Man memories, if he does get his own book, maybe he'll go seek out Anna Marie.
Yeah, anything. Oh, that'd be hard on poor Janine.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be just romantic. It could be like, just like, she helps him build tech and stuff. And
yeah, I mean, it would be interesting if we find out that, like, Anna Marie was somehow associated with Beyond, or there's lots of things that could be. I'm still waiting for Anna Marie to come back. So, and I don't know why they made a Hulk Connors.
Beyond.
And what's weird about that is, like, that was the big threat, a big giant lizard guy.
I know, like the way they kept going on about Door Z, it seemed like I was waiting for some like multi-dimensional, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, don't we fight like 3 of those a week around here? So, but this one, if you saw next week's cover, this one has wings.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really a dragon lizard. So that's fun.
I mean, 92 and 93, I think, are the last 2 regular issues of Beyond, and I think there might be another one of those BEY issues in there somewhere. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it. It's just this was an odd one.
Yeah,
fighting all the reject super and again, I am still so lost in everyone's motivation in all of this. Like, I guess Beyond had a facility here that they sent the UFOs in to destroy, but it was also meant to be this big proving ground for Ben Reilly, but also meant to take Spider-Man out because he wouldn't be prepped for it. There's a lot going on there.
Charlie Esser, there is an amazing Spider-Man 92.BEY. Yeah, I thought this was the issue I heard about. Guess who's big on the cover?
Otto?
Monica Rambeau.
Oh, Monica Rambeau. Oh, yeah. Well, she actually was already introduced into this, and we know she does not like the Beyond.
Oh no, yeah.
She knows these people.
So we might be getting a big Monica issue before this is all said and done. Yeah.
Do you know was a good book that DC put out this week?
Oh, what? You read another DC? Yeah, what?
Yeah. Monkey Prince #2.
Oh, okay. That was out
Monkey
again.
Prince is going into my pull line. Yeah, I mean, it is weird and interesting. As we know, he got his head chopped off last week. One thing I like is the way that they're presenting Damien. They're coloring him a lot more swarthier, which actually I think is appropriate for his lineage.
Mm-hmm.
This reminds me. Remember the Superman of China series?
Yes.
I really liked that, and I really felt like it had this quality, this color, and this vibrancy that I think really works for this. Shifu Pigsy is great in it, of course, constantly. But here's the interesting thing. Last issue we found out that Monkey Prince's adopted parents, and it is confirmed in this that they are his adoptive parents. They are actually, super scientists for hire for supervillains. They were trying to resurrect this idol for a penguin that could turn everything into gold, and guess who got turned into gold?
Oh.
He is Goldhorn Penguin now, and he is eating everybody's chi, or it's spelled QI. And I learned that can also be a CH or a C sound, so that's what's going on there. And we have Damian Wayne, high school newspaper reporter, trying to interrogate the Monkey Prince about how he jumped into the pool, and moments later, the Monkey Prince jumped out. And then, of course, a few minutes later than that, you came out of the pool again as well. Which we find out that was actually, again, Pigsy Shifu. He realizes that he has to start his training to become the Ultimate Warrior. So we end on that training montage. And then we get the after credit scene where Goldhorn Penguin, he is devouring all of these people, but he's still hungry. and they explain that the ancient gods. So we have a couple of demons up from the abyss to basically give Penguin the down low. So Penguin is going to be our villain in this. So I'm right there. I'm all over it. That basically all of the key of the gods that you need to survive as a demon, that's spread out amongst all the heroes of this world. So if Penguin wants to survive, he needs to eat Batman's key. So there we go. Penguin's going to eat the Batman. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm excited. That was Monkey Prince number 2. And
All right.
do you have any? I have one last book to talk about if you're ready, but if you have one more you want to do.
Yeah, I want to talk. Did you get a chance to read Moon Knight?
No, I did not. I
Oh
really
my
did not
God.
get I could only read my books, honestly.
Oh, I know. Yeah, Moon Knight 9. It was really good because it almost seems like he's investigating like this haunted building because it's like people keep disappearing on the 6th floor of this building. But he's like, if you look at the blueprints, this building's only supposed to have 5 floors.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, so it seems like this haunted thing, and like it like traps people, and I guess it like reaches into their minds. But guess what? Guess what happens when it reaches into Moon Knight's mind? It spits them out. It's like
Yeah.
because he's even telling Dr. Sturman about the whole thing later. He's like, it spit me out like I was poisoned food, but I guess technically I kind of was. But no, he goes back later, and with some explosives, he's gonna blow it up. He talks to Wong first, but then he finds out, this upper floor is actually the House of Shadows, a living structure beyond time and space and time that Doctor Strange and a bunch of people banished a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And Moon Knight's like, I could blow you up and stuff. He's like, but I think I have a better offer for you. He's like, you need a purpose. He's like, I need a purpose. I think we understand each other. He's like, I'll give you the same thing that keeps me going, a mission. So you remember the Midnight Mission was all blown up. So yeah, the House of Shadows becomes the new Midnight Mission. So
okay, but
it's actually interesting. Yeah, it's like Moon Knight instead of just like winning something by punching somebody out. He's like, oh, this strange creature. It's like, no, you need a purpose, you need a mission. Hey, help me, I'll help you.
So, but here's the only question: is it still going to be eating people?
It's like, I guess not, because I mean, Moon Knight's just like, Moon Knight's like, I'm ready to blow you up. I have a way to blow you up. So,
oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will have to read that, and I'll have to see how that plays out as the storyline progresses.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so what book do you got?
My last book is my Indie of the Week, IDW, Mirror War, Geordi #1.
Ew.
And it's pretty cool because it's it's Geordi. He's in the I forget what they call it, but it has like it has a bad name, but it's like the Persuasion Chamber. It basically it puts you through horrific torture and to get you to confess to things. And we get this really neat backstory on Geordi, where it's it parallels his original family's backstory, but here his father is, after he gets beat up by kids, his father shoots him away, but he doesn't give his son a hand up, and then you remember how Geordi's mom died, right?
Didn't
in
the
a fire
or something? Oh yeah. Oh
yeah, his mom died in the fire. This time, both his mom and dad died in a fire. That's because Geordi made a firebomb to kill them both with. Which is a play on what happened in the original, because Geordi blamed himself for the fire that killed his mom. I think his dad also blamed him for the fire that killed his mom. So it was a weird thing. Then we flash back to when, just after the Stargazer incident, when Geordi and Picard are both assigned to the Enterprise, and this other female engineer starts hitting on Geordi. They develop a relationship. Then they're going to plotting to murder their commander, the like head of engineering. But then Geordi rats her out, so that she gets taken away to a dilithium mine, where she eventually dies in the dilithium mines. And Geordi is like, no one can break me, and no one. You think you understand me, counselor, but you don't. Because if something makes me weak, I cut it out. Ooh. It's pretty cool because that was the thing. It's like, yeah, he did have feelings for her, and that's why he had to get rid of her. Because if you have feelings, that makes you weak. And next week, it's Cisco, man.
Oh,
Version Cisco as a pirate. I love it. So yeah, I'm enjoying the Mirror Wars. I mean, obviously, when they're doing, I mean, again, it's a little hard to follow because you get these one shots which are pretty cool, and they give you like a universe build out, but the actual story is running real slow as Picard tries to take over the evil universe. So, and that's all I got, Phil. You want to call this a night?
yeah. I think we did get a good job here.
So, how can people reach out to us, find us, buy some wonderful merch?
I'm glad you asked, Charlie Esser. Yes, if you want to talk to us about any comics or any of these movies or anything that's coming out, or if you're even a creator and want to speak to us, you can email us at capesandlunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. I can find links to all the social medias, including social media for Superconnectivity on Facebook and Twitter. Links to our YouTube channel. Everything gets a video there. Our Patreon, where we have early access to creator interviews, Mr. DG Chichester every month, and the worst superhero movie brackets. We've only done 2 rounds so far, so yeah, go subscribe, get in on the ground floor. You won't miss a thing. You can plenty of time to catch up, and you can get some Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks merchandise. Be cool like us, kids. Yes. So find everything at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics.
And of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our mothers and fathers once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on the Twitter as I like to tweet things when I feel like it at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEssser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing.
Thank you, Maz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us again this week. You have connected with me and Phil. And next week, we will super connect with you again. Good night.
Good night.
Everybody do a dance. In your pants.
Oh my.
As we fly
Woo-hoo.
to France.
So many books, kids.